Welcome back to another recap. Today we're diving into the movie 28 Days Later. The film kicks off with a group of animal rights activists infiltrating a research laboratory in Cambridge. They stumble upon chimpanzees caged in distress, strapped to monitors, and looking hostile. A scientist tries to stop them, frantically warning that the chimps are infected with something called rage, a virus transmitted through blood and saliva. One activist ignores him and frees a chimp. It thanks her by launching into a full-blown attack. Within seconds, she's convulsing, vomiting blood, and infecting the rest of the group. Chaos erupts. The lab becomes ground zero. 28 days later, Jim wakes up alone in a hospital bed, tube still in his arm. There's no staff, no power, and no noise. He stumbles through empty hallways strewn with overturned chairs, phones off the hook, and signs of something gone horribly wrong. When he finally makes it outside, London is silent. There is no traffic and no people. As Jim wanders the empty streets, he finds a newspaper screaming with headlines like "Evacuation, State of Emergency," and "Military Ordered, Shoot to Kill." It's not exactly comforting. As night falls, Jim seeks shelter and heads into a church. Inside, it's worse. Hundreds of corpses piled across the pews, an altar like some post-apocalyptic funeral. Two bodies suddenly rise and stare at him with blank expressions. Then an infected priest bursts through the door. He, along with the other infected, chase Jim outside. As he bolts out of the church, a pack of infected are hot on his heels. Just as things look bleak, fire rains down. Molotov cocktails light up the night, turning the infected into flaming human torches. Jim's dragged to safety by two survivors, Selena and Mark. The three of them take shelter in a nearby corner shop. Still disoriented, Jim explains he's a bicycle courier. He was delivering a package when a car cut him off. Next thing he remembers, he woke up in the hospital. As far as he knows, this could all be some fever dream. He begs them to tell him what the hell is going on. Selena explains how the virus outbreak began and that the virus spreads through blood and saliva. She tells Jim that by the time they tried to evacuate the cities, it was already too late. The infection was everywhere. Jim asks about their families. Mark and Selena tell him that everyone they loved is gone, and Jim's family is most likely dead too. But Jim insists on finding them. They can't let him wander off alone, so when daylight breaks, the three step out into the hollow remains of London. They reach Jim's parents' house. Upstairs in the bedroom, Jim finds his answer. His parents are lying in bed motionless, his photo clutched in his mother's hand, pills spilled on the nightstand next to them. As night falls, the group decides to stay in the house. Jim can't sleep. He lights a candle and wanders to the kitchen. Standing in front of the fridge, he slips into a daydream, imagining his parents walking in, alive, smiling like nothing ever happened. But then an infected man bursts through the front door and charges at Jim. Almost instantly, an infected teenage girl claws her way through the jagged frame. Selena doesn't hesitate. Machete in hand, she swings hard, striking the man. Mark wrestles with the girl, stabbing her repeatedly until she goes still. Then Selena checks everyone for bites and scratches. She sees a deep cut on Mark's arm, soaked in infected blood. She kills him without hesitation, then tosses a dishcloth to Jim to clean himself up. Then she grabs what she can from the kitchen, food supplies, anything useful. Then she tells Jim more infected are coming. They always do. They leave the house and wander through the ruins of London. As they walk, Selena admits that if what happened to Mark happens to him, she'll end him in a heartbeat. Then they see something unexpected, a balcony strung with Christmas lights, blinking in the dark like a distress signal. They head toward it, arriving at a tower block reinforced with a wall of shopping carts. A crude but clever barricade. They climb over the tangled mess and rest for a bit. But then pounding footsteps echo behind them. A group of infected has broken into the building. Jim and Selena push hard, racing to the top of the stairs. Just as the infected close in, they finally reach the last floor, and a man in full SWAT gear pulls them through to safety. The man's name is Frank. He's a cab driver. His teenage daughter Hannah is also there. The apartment is fortified and lit with candlelight. The tension eases a little, and they all get to know each other a bit. The next morning, Frank plays a crackly military radio broadcast. It promises safety protection and salvation from infection at a blockade outside Manchester. He's planning to take Hannah there, but the trip isn't something he can manage alone. He asks Selena and Jim to come with them. Selena doesn't trust it. She suspects the soldiers behind the broadcast are long gone. But after some thought, they all agree. It's a long shot, but it's the only shot they've got. They load up Frank's black cab with supplies and hit the road, heading for Manchester and the promise of salvation. Eventually, their route forces them through a tunnel, a long, dark underpass that feels like the last place anyone should be. Jim thinks this is a terrible idea. Frank drives in anyway. Halfway through, the beam of the headlights reveals a barricade of wrecked cars and bodies laying on the ground. Frank guns it, ramming through the mess of metal and bone. The cab makes it through, but not without a flat tire. Frank and Hannah work on the tire while Jim and Selena keep watch. Then they see hundreds of rats, surging underfoot in a panicked tide. Selena knows they're running from something worse. Down the tunnel, the infected are charging straight for them. Hannah, with great skill and speed, fits the new tire a second away from the infected getting to them. They drive off, leaving the horde in the dust. Before leaving London for good, Selena spots a fully intact supermarket. She tells Frank to stop the cab. The group enters and stocks up, grabbing whatever they can carry. Hours later, deep into the countryside, they pull over at a cafe along the motorway. They're out of gas, and everyone gets out. Selena grabs a jerry can and a length of plastic tubing. She and Frank approach a nearby truck to siphon fuel. While they work, Jim wanders toward the cafe, bat in hand. Inside, the place is frozen in time and soaked in blood. Jim moves carefully, scanning for movement. Then an attacker jumps him from behind. He fights back, pushing him off. It's an infected boy. Jim hesitates for only a second before bringing the bat down. He leaves the cafe unharmed. Back at the truck, the jerry can is full. They load up and get back on the road. They pull over in a grassy area where they have a picnic, catch a break, and stay the night. In the morning, they drive off, listening to the military recording for the directions. When the group finally drags themselves into Manchester, they're greeted by grand nothing. The blockade is deserted. Selena urges Frank to move on, but he's having a bit of a moment. His frustration turns into a middle-aged meltdown. He storms off in a sulk. A crow won't stop cawing while nibbling on the corpse of an infected. Frank snaps and kicks the tall gate. Unfortunately, a single, well-aimed drop of blood from the corpse falls straight into Frank's eye, infecting him. Moments later, Hannah comes searching for him. He turns, twitching like a radio tuned to static, and tells her to keep her distance. The virus works fast, rearranging his biology. He starts convulsing and growling. Jim and Selena arrive just in time for the tragedy. Selena grabs Hannah and orders Jim to kill Frank. Jim hesitates, but just as he starts to act, a spray of gunfire from the bushes takes Frank down. The soldiers escort Jim, Selena, and Hannah to a heavily fortified country house under the command of Major Henry West. He tells them they have hot water and ushers them to take a shower. Afterward, Jim finds himself alone with the Major, who wastes no time asking whether they heard his broadcast. Major West admits that what they've stumbled into might not live up to the desperate hope the message promised, but claims he does have the cure to the infection. He shows Jim around the house, the kitchen, and then finally the courtyard, where they have one of their soldiers, Mailer, tied in chains. He has been recently infected. The Major tells him he is studying the virus and wants to find out how long it will take to starve an infected to death. Later that night, the group is treated to a full banquet, but the vibe is all wrong. Then the infected break through the outer defenses. The soldiers rush out to handle it, opening fire into the dark. As they come back, one of the soldiers turns on Selena, aggressive, leering, and not subtle about what he wants from her. Jim steps in, and before the situation explodes, Sergeant Farrell intervenes. He hits the soldier hard enough to make his point. Major West arrives, diffuses the moment by separating everyone, apologizes to Selena, then pulls Jim aside for a drink. During their conversation, the Major explains that the sanctuary is ruse and his broadcast is just a trap to lure women into the compound, to be handed over to his men under the guise of repopulating the species like this is Gilead. A twisted plan to keep morale up and give his soldiers a reason to keep going. Jim doesn't say a word. He walks out, heading straight to find Selena and Hannah. They try to escape, but the soldiers intercept them, knocking Jim to the ground. As he is laying there, Major West offers him a place in the New Order. Jim doesn't react, so the Major tells the soldiers to seize him too. Sergeant Farrell has refused to take part in any of this from the start. He and Jim are imprisoned to be executed in the morning. While chained, Sergeant Farrell tells Jim that the infection has not spread across the Atlantic and that Britain has been quarantined from the rest of the world. At dawn, Jim and Sergeant Farrell are marched out into the woods. The two soldiers shoot Farrell and then bicker, allowing Jim to escape into the woods. The soldiers pause, squint into the trees, and decide that Jim is probably dead enough. After all, the forest is crawling with infected. Lying low in the underbrush, Jim notices a jet contrail in the sky, showing proof that the outside world is still active. At the house, Selena and Hannah are made to put on dresses and obey. But Selena is struggling hard. During the scuffle, they hear the siren go off. Jim has lured Major West and another soldier to the blockade. There, Jim kills the soldier, and Major West heads home after nearly being killed by infected. Jim, meanwhile, returns to the house and frees Private Mailer, the infected soldier, to go after the others. Hannah and Selena are sitting in a room, dressed in red gowns. Hannah tells one of the soldiers that he'll die soon. He turns to the window, only to be surprised by Mailer, who attacks and infects him. Selena and Hannah run upstairs while being chased. Jim begins to kill the soldiers, and Hannah hides in the bathroom from an infected soldier. Meanwhile, Corporal Mitchell attempts to abduct Selena, but Jim kills him with such savagery that Selena believes Jim to be infected. Preparing to kill him, she hesitates for more than a heartbeat, then realizes he is fine, and the two kiss. Then Hannah finds them. Jim, Selena, and Hannah attempt to escape in Frank's cab, but Major West, who is hidden in the back seat, shoots Jim in the stomach. Hannah gets in the car and floors in reverse. She brakes hard, allowing Mailer to reach Major West and pull him out of the car. West is killed, and Hannah saves Jim and Selena. Then they drive through the fence and escape. Another 28 days later, Jim recovers at a remote cottage in Cumbria, where the infected are shown lying on the roads, dying of starvation. As a Hawker Hunter jet flies overhead, Jim, Selena, and Hannah unfurl a huge cloth banner spelling the word hello. The three survivors wave at the jet and wonder among themselves if the pilot had spotted them. Pretty sure he had. The end. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And until next time,